Hello, Bl'Artagnan here, bringing you Transcendence Tier 2, Crucible 1, also known as the Left Nut. We're bringing a team of Garland, Raijin, and Gilgamesh. I know several people have already soloed this stage using Garland BT, so I thought I'd try something a little bit different. I still wanted Garland here, because I figured this is kind of the stage for him, so I might as well lock him in here. But I figured I'd drop off a couple other characters who probably won't be seeing a whole lot of use in other Transcendence stages. Of course, I'm going to be looking pretty darn silly if they end up releasing like a, Transcendence featuring Gilgamesh LD or something like that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Truthfully, soloing the stage would probably have been easier. As you can see, it gets a little bit touchy. We have no battery, we have no real defensive mitigation. All we have is Raijin's healing aura to kind of survive these guys. Luckily, it turns out Raijin and Gilgamesh actually kind of work pretty decently in this stage, provided they're, backed up by Garland's overwhelming power. Between the paralyzes and the delays and the enchant and the splash damage. So, I thought that was kind of funny. So here you see Raijin, at this point, has paralyzed them all, which really helps in terms of managing that that turn warping shenanigan that the wolves get up to. Means that we can delay B without having to worry about the other two warping his turn up. So the name of the game here is to get the main wolf down to 79% so that he unsummons the ally wolves. The main mechanic of this fight is that those ally wolves who they'll warp the boss turn right behind there. It's kind of like Onion Knight, but they'll be unsummoned at 79, 49, and 29%. Additionally, when they get that red aura, they become super resistant to magic. I guess just as a middle finger to Emperor and Y'shtola. Well, they also absorb Earth, so they really either they were intending you to do rebreak stuff or they didn't want you bringing Y'shtola here. I was tempted to bring her anyway, just because. Between the rebreaks being mechanically interesting and the fact that I like using her, I thought I would have a fun time, but knowing she gets a really good BT+, and that Garland is kind of intended for this stage, I figured, I'll save myself the headache. Let's just Garland this. So there go the two allies of that wolf, which is perfect, because Gilgamesh's EX is up, meaning we can push it back. Raijin's paralyzes up, meaning we can make it skip its turn, and now we're just going to go to town with it. Between Garland's delays, Gilgamesh's backup delays, and Raijin's paralyze, at this point all we're really worried about is when the wolves come back every 12 player actions, I want to say. It might be lower, because I definitely lose count every time they come back this time, so I never quite nail when it happens. You see there, I kind of goofed up. Well, I didn't goof up. Gilgamesh let me down there with that paralyzed chance not going off. So I had to rely on this very sad Garland EX to get kind of back into things. I find Gilgamesh's kit hilarious because of how diverse it is, and also the fact that a one-turn melee resist down and a 15% paralyzed chance are both incredibly memey. I kind of hope they give him something a bit more consistent when they give him his LD, just because I like the character a lot, but you'll see here, I don't even bother with the paralyzed thing. I just put the speed down that he also gets from his Genji Blade on him. Now that they're all back, it's time to Garland Burst. We used an LD the previous turn to set this up with that free round edge skill. And with Terra's LD call, we were able to get that refund that makes him hit a whole lot harder, even though we don't have any real regen or battery supports on the team. I'm not really sure between Cam and Terra Call which one's better for this, for Garland, because he does so much Brave damage that I kind of feel Terra's probably better, but Cam, in my experience, seems to make most people cap harder, just because, HP damage also benefits from when you've batteried yourself up somehow. I don't know. Anyway, you can see here we're almost down to 49%, meaning those wolves that were resummoned are not coming back. or at least not going to be an issue for us. I probably didn't need to HP attack there, but I'm kind of trying to get in the habit of using that for this Transcendence, because I know the Final Reckoning is a bit of a slog. I know it's shocking to hear me, saying I'm trying to conserve skills. My thinking there with that Brave attack is that once again, we have no battery, but I know Garland's EX is going to be charged next turn. And I want to take advantage of that, just how powerful it is when you go into it with max Brave. Would it have been better to just hit there and use the EX, from 0? Very possibly, but I didn't feel like, I figured this was an environment in which I could really kind of do something goofy like that. We're really under no threat. He's probably going to bring the wolves back very soon, and they're just going to get unsummoned once they go below 29%, then they don't come back. Meanwhile, with Raijin, we're just keeping the Imperil up and making sure that the paralyze is on them whenever possible. With Gilgamesh, we're just refreshing his generic buffs and otherwise using his skill 2 to charge his EX, which also delays and hits pretty hard, even with minimal support. Gilgamesh is kind of like Garland in that he has a very high natural kind of attack potency, even if his skills don't have that many hits. Go ahead and get that break order good for us. Put him under 29, and that's basically sealing the fight for us. Part of why I say that it might have been easier to just solo this with Garland is we actually end up running pretty close on turn count by the end of this. Because both Raijin and Gilgamesh don't deal the most damage by modern standards, especially if they're not really enabled by other team members. Now that Garland's burst effect is out, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of damage, relying very heavily on Raijin's Imperil. I think Gabranth's call has also fallen off them at this point, so we're going to go ahead and put it back on. Probably could have used the EX there. The temptation when you see a free skill to use it versus the EX is a pretty consistent thing. Yeah, this fight is another one of those fights where I think if you don't bring the intended character, that being Garland, it can really kind of trip you up and give you some trouble. You saw how early in the fight it got a little hairy at times. I can only imagine how hairy it gets if you don't bring a character who hits as hard as he does and delays every turn. I'm sure lightning probably works pretty decently here too as well. Those two tend to be pretty interchangeable at this stage. Yeah, still hitting reasonably hard this late in the fight. With that EX anyway. Other skills notwithstanding. But that was part of why I was like, I'm not going to mess around with these guys. There's a lot of content to clear with this Transcendence. I'm just going to do my part, get Greg into the call to arms, and kind of be done with it. I didn't actually realize that once they went below 29%, the little wolves didn't come back. I assumed that they would one last time, so I was saving the summon to try to get the paralyze on them as well from Ramuh. Probably a waste, but in the end it didn't really matter because it's not like we don't kill him in the summon, so I guess I can't say that that I was wasting any turns from it or anything like that. It is kind of nice that a character like Raijin is still quite usable, under the right circumstances. Very good investment if you picked him up back in the EX era or in early Lufania. Here we're going to go ahead and try to get that stylish kill with the Garland EX. And there we go. That's one Crucible down. Hope you enjoyed. you can check out the next video to see how the next Crucible went. Ooh, 69 turns, nice. In the meantime, like the video, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Adios.